Grand Rising. It is Sunday, March 14th. I actually did a video yesterday. It was really long, and I decided to break it up a little bit. I was told to add some things. I was told to take some things out. And I was very emotional. Yesterday was the moon. I don't know if you remember, but I am a Cancer moon and rising. Any changes in the moon caused me a great deal of emotion. So, I gotta close the door. My toddler's still sleeping at 10:30, so I gotta hurry up. I'm sure he's gonna wake up soon. So I'm gonna end up trying to drop like 3 videos a day. And so the first one that I'm gonna start with, I've gotten a lot of attacks. I see that someone tried to rectify their attack, but I would say if you have the balls to call my name for the bullshit, make sure you call my name for that good shit you see. So, today, the first topic that I'm going to drop the video about is linking the Bible and covert emotional incest. There's a lot of people, I'm in hella comment sections every time I see something. This is covert emotional incest, covert emotional incest. And I'm repeatedly told to stop ruminating. I'm told that that's my south node, move into your north node, I need to be more spiritual. So let me give you a few things. The funniest things and the funniest aspects in my chart is that midheaven and north node are conjunct, and south node and my part of fortune are conjunct. I have to use them all four together. This is what I'm doing. They all four have to, you see? All right. And then, you'll look at someone's struggles as a fail. When some failures and struggles are an intentional mission. I do not care what you would have done. We are not the same rank. Getting orders from the same leader, or even on the same battlefield. So, I'm talking master levels. A lot of you, be immersed in the spirit. Let me tell you something. Are you aware that everyone has a demon service to them? Some of us, it's an entire bloodline. An entire bloodline has one demon that is service to them. I'm not going to tell you which one mine is. But I know. And you're so busy worried about the positive, you don't realize that the positive and the negative are needed for your highest good. Both are required. They cancel each other out. A great example of that is just showing you how my midheaven, north node, Pisces, south node, part of fortune, you see how they need to work. The south node I need the south node, which is negative, to get money. Clearly you don't, but it's okay. You continue to keep thinking that you're doing better than me. That you continue to do that. I'm going to keep giving out my message, and those who want to hear it will get it. It's that simple. I don't really give a fuck. I'm just trying to help you. You think you're trying to help me? I've done my work, baby. Never mind. Let's not be childish, right? So anyway, you see me coming out a certain way. I'm aware that I can be a little abrasive. I'm aware that my message is negative, but both positive and negative energies are required for your highest good. And this message I'm trying to give you all is the creme de la creme of negativity, But if the lesson is accepted, it can turn into the most positive message of your life. You have to release pride to receive it. You know, the wise one knows that the message can come from anyone or anything, including a whore. You do not know me. You do not know where I was raised or who raised me, but I'm about to tell you, okay? I was raised in one of the most influential churches of the 90s. I was raised in the Spirit by Rod Parsley. He baptized me personally at 3 years old. You know, I rubbed shoulders with the most influential evangelists of our generation: Juanita Bynum, T.D. Jakes, Joyce Meyer, Creflo Dollar, Benny Hinn. You know, the list goes on. But let me tell you about Benny Hinn. Was a healer, honey, and I loved Benny Hinn. Okay, so when he came in, my parents knew I wanted to be with them. I wasn't going with the kids. I wanted to be immersed in that spirit. And so if you were to watch past filming in the history of World Harvest Church, you would find me often. They put me on camera a lot because I didn't want to be with the kids. I wanted to be in the adult service. I wanted to be immersed in the spirit, and the adults enjoyed watching a child do this. You know, raise up a child in the way they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. That's where I was raised. I have not left. The Spirit has not left me. Every single thing I do is mostly the Spirit, except for when these moments of wrongdoing that I was trying to figure out, why can I not follow my Spirit? Why? This is why. It's not simply a spiritual warfare. The spiritual warfare is actually started in the mind. Without proper use of the earth suit, you cannot follow the Spirit. That means the earth suit is malfunctioned. So, you know, a lot of people want to call Rod Parsley corrupt, you know, and I can't disagree that almost all of the evangelists are to some degree a little bit corrupt and do have questionable ways. Excuse me. My eldest child's father, his grandparents knew him very personally, and he definitely isn't or wasn't who he portrays. But when I was 22, he introduced to the congregation a concept called Pesach Ani. And I might have actually been a little bit older because I feel like I had my daughter already. So I might have been 25. But I know in my 20s, he introduced the congregation to a concept called Pesach Ani. If you miss Passover, you have another opportunity for your manifestations using Pesach Ani. And it occurred to me that he was using the moon for manifestation. And it was at that point that I realized that the Bible has many contradictions, and it is up to you to discern which ones are true and which ones are false. And it also occurred to me that this man knew more about the Spirit than he would ever reveal to his congregation. And that is how he managed to be so heavy in the Spirit for all of these years. To this day, I have never stepped into another church that has the Spirit. It's like when you walk in, it just overwhelms you. And I haven't walked into another church and felt that. Now, I still can feel the Spirit, but there's something about his church that's just, even with him losing his congregation, that Spirit didn't move, baby. So, you know, there's something he knows that I now know. So, I already said, train up a child in the way he should go, teaching him to seek God's wisdom and will for his abilities and talents. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. Proverbs 22:6. Let's add those numbers up. That's 10. We end in cycles. We're getting in new beginnings. Covert emotional incest causes a child to take up the inappropriate habits of a parent. So I think I mentioned that my parents would have me lie for them Well, if you're raising your child a lie, why would they just grow up and shed that? Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger. Do not exasperate them to the point of resentment with demands that are trivial or unreasonable or humiliating or abusive, nor by showing favoritism or indifference to any of them, but bring them up tenderly with loving kindness and the discipline and instruction of the Lord. Ephesians 6:4. There's 10 again. 6 and 4 is 10. We are ending cycles, starting new beginnings. I just get excited when I do certain things, and when I'm starting to reveal little shit. I'm not going to tell you all everything I know, but I am going to tell you this, okay? So, I'm about to read an article about ways that we provoke our children to anger. But this 11:11 on the screen, okay, how do we provoke our children to anger? I'm about to read that, but I just wanted to mention the verses that I'm using, right? I'm using the Amplified Bible and not the King James Bible. I could get into the King James. Woof. We ain't gonna do that today. We're not going to do that today, but I'm building up to it, and we'll just start with this little bit, right? But in the Amplified Bible, it says, do not show favoritism or indifference. Do not humiliate or abuse. Excuse me. And covert emotional incest, if we go back to, identifying the root, it says, it describes the victims as having anger or guilt towards their parent and problems with self-esteem, addiction, sexual and emotional intimacy. So I want you to keep that in mind. It says right here in the Bible, do not provoke your children to anger. This is how you provoke your children to anger. So 16 ways you provoke your children to anger. By constantly criticizing them and not encouraging them. So a criticizing parent, when they feel they can never please us enough. And the problem is, no child is here to please you. They are here to follow the Spirit and please God. Simply. Okay? By having double standards, saying do as I say, not as I do, expecting them to do things we don't do. Or, tell them, hey, say you're sorry. Be humble. But you ain't humble. You don't say sorry for a damn thing. And pride yourself on it. 3, by anger and harshness. 4 is lack of affection. 5, by telling them what to do or not to do without giving biblical reasons, just saying because I said so, because I said it's wrong. 6, by being offended at their sin because it bothers us, not because it offends God. So, and this could be not a sin. This could be just break. I just saw they just accidentally broke a glass, and you're like, oh my God, how could you do that? You're offended at something that's not even a sin. Number 7, by comparing them to others. Why can't you act like your sister? Why can't you act like Miss Bias? Why can't you? Yeah. By hypocrisy. And so, by the way, by comparing them to others would be like, humiliating them. It would still be, when they feel they can never please us enough, that's still a criticism. This is a way that you can be a criticizing, abusive parent and not even know it. So by number 8 is by hypocrisy, acting like a Christian at church but not at home. By embarrassing them, correcting, mocking, or expressing disappointment in them in front of others. So we already said, do not humiliate. This is still critical abusive parent. And you don't even know. You know, an abusive parent, a critical abusive parent doesn't need to lay a hand. Them words is harsh. A harsh tongue brings about anger and wrath. That's Proverbs for those who don't know. Number 10, by always lecturing them and never listening to them. Remember in one of my videos, I can't remember because now I've got like 30 videos. I'm surprised at how many videos I have. But one of my videos, I said that asking for help was never help. It was always lectures. They lectured me one time, and I didn't even do anything wrong. It was an issue with paperwork, and they told me how irresponsible I was and all this stuff. Number 11, by disciplining them for childishness or weakness, not for sin. Being a child when you are a child is not a problem. In fact, one of the things that I noticed the other day is that I took my son to the park and he got covered in mud. Like, I just let him roll around and do whatever he wanted. And there were people that just completely disagreed and hated it, and they made it known. He's a child who is 3. Like, what he did was childish and not punishable. Number 12, by failing to ask for forgiveness when we sin against them. So when you do something wrong to your child, you just let it go. You don't apologize, nothing. Children are human beings too. They deserve apologies too. I've always been good about that one. I'll be trying to be quite honest with you, there is very little that I actually did here. I spanked my children, and I did have moments in which I was explosive. But for the most part, I tried to follow these things, you know, and I recognized where I was doing wrong still. So, 13, by pride, failing to receive humble correction from our spouses, our children, when we sin. And it's funny that I just said that because my oldest son, and this is before I knew what covert emotional incest was or anything like that, my oldest child mentioned that I am too hard on the middle child, and I didn't ignore that. Come to find out, after reading these books, I realized where my child, that middle child, was a favorite child. She was my chosen child. So I had like great expectations of this 5-year-old, 4-year-old little girl. I didn't even know. But that older child saying something made me investigate. I didn't say, mind your business, child. You don't know what you're talking about, child. No. I know, and a wise person knows, that the lesson comes from anywhere. Children, especially, my 3-year-old says things, and up until the age of 5, they're working at their brains are working at a genius level, and they're very pure. So why would you not take the advice of a child? 14, by centered reactions to their sin. Like, how could you do this to me? What about you're embarrassing my family. You're embarrassing yourself. When you are, they are an individual. We don't own nobody. They are an individual, and they have their own sins and mistakes to make. 15, by ungracious reactions to their sins. Like, what were you thinking? Why in the world would you do that? They don't know. This is their first run. They don't know. It causes them to feel This is where the low self-esteem comes from. I can't do anything right. Why would I do that? And 16, by forgetting that we were and are still sinners. So things that you say to your child, I would have never done that when I was your age. Now let me tell you something, my kids are really good kids. In fact, there's a lot that they haven't done. I'm so proud of them, you know. They just have really, but it's how they're being raised. They're really great children. May God give us gracious, gentle, humble, affectionate hearts towards our children. That's the end of that article. And that article is from For Every Mom. ForEveryMom.com. It was a really good article, and I have where these things are coming from. It's mental. It's mental. The mental blocks the spirit, because it's like Men in Black when they find out that there's a little alien inside the body running the show, but the body starts to malfunction, and so now that little body has to come out because it's not that little alien. It had to leave the body because the body was malfunctioning. He had to go get a new one, right? Same thing. So that is that article. That is me linking the Bible and covert emotional incest together. Do not profane your daughter by making her a prostitute, so that the land will not fall to prostitution and become full of wickedness. That's Leviticus 19:29. You add them numbers up, that's 111. Covert emotional incest literally causes a child to become a whore. The romanticizing parent unlocks intimacy, and the child will find ways to quell it through sexual addictions. We already just talked about what does emotional incest cause. Well, there's just a few more things I want to say on this video. I was going to read Hosea 4:14. But I'm just going to read the last. It says, the people without knowledge come to ruin. They stumble and fall. No one can serve two masters. For either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money, possessions, fame, status, or whatever is valued more than the Lord. That is Matthew 6:24. I mentioned yesterday in my Why Do I Do This video, a lot of my content likely won't be monetized, and that's not what I'm here for. How am I, a God in the flesh, and I'm chasing money? How am I to follow the Spirit when worrying about money, and money is a construct of the flesh? I mean, let me tell you something. I look mighty good. Look at this. This outfit is really cute. I got a lot of them, right? I follow my spirit. The money comes. We already know, And one more thing I'm going to bring up. A number I hear coming out a lot is number 22. So, I want you to know my date of birth is 4/22. Disney movie Soul, it focuses around soul number 22. And soul number 22 experienced anhedonia, which is the inability to feel pleasure, something that actually is found in covert emotional incest. It's one of the most common things that people experience, and that's why they can't get with a partner, because they don't know what joy and pleasure is. Okay, so in the attempt to help the main character, Soul 22 recovers, but the main character was actually living an emotionally abusive relationship with his mother because she did not approve of his dreams. This was emotional incest. This was a small case. Now, what if the father was a drug addict? What if his mom was physically abusive? This is how the spectrum is created. It starts with a simple disapproval, and some never get that physical abuse or anything like that. It's just the act of adding more factors that makes it more severe and causes mental health issues. Note that the main character was kind of self-centered as a result of him being stifled by his mother. If you were to read the book Silently Seduced and the Emotional Incest Syndrome and then go back and watch the media, just watch Prince Harry's interview. Watch the documentary on Britney or Paris Hilton. Listen to the music, watch a sitcom. It's all there. I already noted the common theme, but I didn't know what it was until I read these books. I had already noted that there's something. Why do all the TV shows have the same plot? Why do all of the music sound exactly the fucking same? The common denominator is covert emotional incest. So today, my first video that I'm dropping, I start with the Bible and the direct correlations to it and my message regarding mental health, because they are mind, body, spirit. They work together. You cannot work on one and think that it's going to fix the other and vice versa. You have to work on all of them. So, very few actually have a purpose of tarot reading. I know I keep attacking the tarot community, but I'm not. I'm trying to help you get to your actualization. You're almost there. Nobody's purpose is gossip. Those who come to you are worried, and you help them relieve their worries when they should be turning to God, the Spirit within themselves. Matthew 6:25 through 33.